So guys, if you've been following us here on Panenka LFC since the start of the transfer window, you'd know that our luck hasn't exactly been stellar when it comes to the players we've suggested for the club to sign. Take Calafiori for instance, he ended up joining Arsenal. William Pacho signed with PSG, and just recently we were about to drop a mega analysis on Martin Zubimendi, but we know how that deal turned out. Heck, there were even reports that Mamardashvili deal would fall through before we released our video. So today we're flipping the script to break the curse, especially since we think the team urgently needs a new number 6. That's why we're going to pretend Liverpool shouldn't go anywhere near these players. Got it? Cool. Then hit that like and subscribe button and let's dive straight into it. Now the first player Liverpool should definitely avoid signing, if you catch our drift, is someone from the Portuguese league. And who would want to sign a player outside the top 5 leagues, right? Well, apparently not Edwards, as he seems to prefer players from those top leagues, which is why the Reds went for Zubimendi, even though he was a bit pricier than our first suggestion. So yes guys, we're talking about Porto's Alan Varela, who has a £60 million release clause. This 22-year-old midfielder is often compared to Javier Mascherano, and for a good reason. Both hail from Argentina, and they share a similar tenacity and skill with the ball at their feet. See, while Varela is primarily a defensive midfielder, if you check out his 2023-2024 season heat map, you'll notice he's more capable of pushing higher up the pitch. That's a crucial trait, especially considering how Arne Slot used his double pivot players during pre-season. When it comes to his ball playing ability, Varela ranks highly among other midfielders in Liga Portugal in terms of both passing quality and volume. He finished second for most through passes and fourth for passes of all ranges completed to other midfielders in the league. To paint a clearer picture, Varela averaged 71.65 pass attempts per 90 minutes with an 87.8% completion rate. His 7.43 progressive passes per game further highlight his ability to move the ball higher up the pitch. This highlights Varela's ability to effectively circulate possession, distribute the ball across the pitch, and progress it by breaking opponents' lines. This is an area where Varela clearly outshines Martin Zubimendi, as the Spaniard's progressive numbers are average at best. But it doesn't end there. The Argentinian also reads the game better defensively. He can sit deep, allowing the other pivot to push higher up the pitch, while acting as a shield to prevent the opposition from hitting his team on the counter. But again, who would want someone from a lesser league, right? So it's obvious we should stay clear of signing him, if you know what I mean. Now for our second player, let's talk about someone who's been linked with the club since the start of the transfer window. Atalanta's Edison. This player would cost around £45 million, which is relatively cheaper than Alan Varela's release clause. Sure, the Brazilian isn't a natural number 6. In fact, he's more of a number 8, who's comfortable playing in a double pivot. Anyone who watched Atalanta's game against Liverpool or their Europa League final against Bayer Leverkusen likely came to the same conclusion about the 24-year-old. He's a Gattuso-type player. He relentlessly covers the pitch, makes tackles, and disrupts play whenever he gets the chance. Standing at 6 foot tall, he's got a compact build that makes it tough for opponents to get around him. He uses his body to bully opponents and knock them off balance. His frame also helps him protect the ball effectively when receiving it on the half turn or with his back to play. Beyond his strengths, the Brazilian has an incredible engine, driving his relentless style of play. However, his tenacity can sometimes go overboard, leading him to chase the ball and leave space in behind, which can be costly. Sure, it's a coachable issue, but do we really want someone who's always chasing the ball around? We totally do, guys. We're just trying to break our curse, remember? In possession, Edison handles the basics of circulating the ball well, but he can also progress the play, although he didn't consistently show that last season. This could be down to his own play style or perhaps his manager's instructions to keep things simple. Now, if you want a detailed deep dive into the Brazilian, be sure to check out a video we dropped on him a while back. Fingers crossed this one isn't too cursed. Our third player might be an unrealistic option, with his team probably asking for around £100 million to let him go. He earned himself a spot on England's 2024 Euro squad after just half a Premier League season, which shows how good he is despite being only 20 years old. Yes, we're talking about Crystal Palace's Adam Warton. Unlike Edison, Warton is more of a number 6, though he's also capable of pushing higher up the pitch. And unlike the two players we discussed earlier, Warton's ball progression is lightning quick, from the way he touches the ball to how he unleashes those line-breaking passes. This speed comes from a trait that we absolutely adore here at Panenka, constantly scanning. It allows the 20-year-old to have a clear picture of his surroundings, often making up his mind about his next move even before receiving the ball. Warton can also be extremely creative with his passing, averaging 1.46 key passes last season, placing him in the 78th percentile among Premier League midfielders. The youngster is also a very capable ball carrier, bursting through lines to advance the ball into the final third, with an average of 1.60 into the area last season. During the build-up phase, Warton is always aware of his surroundings, and with more time and experience, he could develop into the first receiver the Reds are currently lacking in their squad. Now, when it comes to the defensive side of things, Warton stands at around 6 feet tall with a pretty slim frame. He's not your typical physically imposing defensive midfielder, but what he lacks for in physical presence, he makes up for in agility. He's proven to be a highly capable and effective tackler with the numbers to back up his elite defending. Warton averaged 2.22 tackles, 1 per 90 minutes, and his tackles are evenly spread across all thirds of the pitch. He also ranked in the 84th percentile for interceptions, showcasing his ability to read the game out of possession and limit the opposition's threat. Warton would cost around £100 million for a 20-year-old. But guys, remember, Liverpool should definitely not go anywhere near Warton, right? I mean, paying £100 million for a 20-year-old with only half a season in the Premier League is just absurd. Jokes aside though, the club really should forget about Martin Zubimendi and focus on addressing the number 6 position this window. See, the current Liverpool squad, while stacked in midfield, still lacks that first phase receiver, someone who can circulate the ball in deeper areas, but also disrupt the opposition's attacks with athleticism and recovery pace. We all know Wataru Endo isn't exactly comfortable in possession. Alexis McAllister is better suited as the second receiver, playing a role similar to the one he had at Brighton alongside Caicedo. Dominic Szoboszlai isn't a pivot player and is average when involved in the build-up phase, and Ryan Gravenberch tends to complicate things rather than keep them simple, which is too risky for such a delicate position. Each of the 3 players we've discussed brings something special. Alan Varela has an eye for progressive passes, Edison is a midfield destroyer, and Warton is one of the best young defensive midfielders, both technically and off of the ball. Of course, none of them are perfect, they each have their weaknesses, but adding one of these guys would be a massive upgrade for the team and help the new manager implement his style that he wants to do. Now guys, with the Premier League season starting, it's understandable that many of us are frustrated with how the club handled its transfer business, but is it the end of the world? Should we write off the season before it even begins? Absolutely not. The squad still has enough talent to put in a solid campaign, and Arne Slot, in just a few pre-season friendlies, has already shown that he can work with what he's got, massively changing the team's style of play. So let's all get behind our manager and our players, and let's make this season the best we possibly can. Now, with the window still open, our main question is, who do you think the Reds should be targeting? We just advised against signing all 3 players we discussed, so hopefully we'll end up getting one of them. Let us know your preferred pick in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed today's video, do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Liverpool deep dives. Thank you, I'll see you all next time. Take care, peace.